I sat at the bar, a low hum of conversations and clinking glasses, surrounding me like distant thunder before a storm. My glass of whiskey remained untouched, the amber liquid catching the dim light as I slowly swirled it, my gaze fixed on the door. I wasn't nervous, at least, not in the way people expect. My heart thundered, yes, but not from fear. This was anticipation. I had waited for this night with the same intensity a man waits for the truth to finally surface. A year ago, I would have laughed if someone told me my life would unravel in a single evening. Back then, I thought I had everything. A girlfriend I adored, a close-knit circle of friends, and a career just beginning to find its rhythm. Emily and I had been together for 3 years. We shared dreams, whispered plans in the dark, made promises we thought were unbreakable. People often said we were the perfect couple, she vibrant and magnetic, the kind of woman who lit up a room the second she walked in. Me quieter, more content to linger on the edges, watching and listening. Maybe that's why everyone seemed to love her more. Maybe that's why I didn't see it coming. It all started at one of those house parties that pretend to be casual, but reek of unspoken competition. Cheap beer, forced laughter, recycled anecdotes. Emily was distant that night, cold in a way that made my skin crawl. I noticed her huddled in the corner with Lisa, whispering, exchanging glances that twisted my gut. I pulled her aside, expecting some excuse, maybe a confession about work stress. Instead, she looked at me with that smug tilt of her head, her voice sugar-coated and sharp all at once. "I need to tell you something," she said, like she'd been rehearsing the line. "I've been seeing someone else." The words hit like a slap, but I didn't react. I couldn't. My brain short-circuited, refusing to comprehend. She just stood there, watching, as if studying my pain like it fascinated her. "I need a real man," she continued, each word slicing deeper. "Someone ambitious. Someone who's not just coasting." I remember blinking, trying to make sense of her cruelty, but then she smirked, God, that smirk, as though she'd won something, as though she expected me to beg or cry or collapse. I turned to the people I called friends, searching their faces for support, for outrage. Instead, I saw awkward glances, a shuffle of feet. Lisa, always the loyal mouthpiece, shrugged. "I mean, she does have a point, man." Laughter rippled. Not loud, not mocking, just casual enough to be more brutal. A few nods. Agreement. It was like stepping into a nightmare, where I was somehow the villain for being betrayed. I left without a word. Not out of weakness but clarity. I needed distance. Time. And in that time, something inside me shifted. Betrayal doesn't just break a man. It reshapes him. I lay awake that night staring at the ceiling, my chest hollow, my pride in tatters. But in that silence, resolve began to take root. They had mocked me. They had chosen their sides. But they had no idea who they had underestimated. I started watching, listening, gathering pieces. Emily's real man turned out to be Greg. Predictable, really. A swaggering finance bro with a jawline as sharp as his ego. He collected women like luxury watches, and talked like success was something you wore. And my so-called friends, they weren't blind. Some of them knew. They'd watched it all unfold, and kept their mouths shut. So I made a plan. Emily and Greg were all about appearances. Perfect photos. Perfect captions. She once posted a shot of them at some overpriced restaurant, the caption oozing with pretension. "A real man knows how to treat a woman." I made sure her boss saw it. Emily had always kept our relationship quiet at work, careful to preserve her professional image. But this wasn't discreet. And it got worse when whispers reached the ears of Greg's father, one of the company's top clients. Within days, the rumors started. Within weeks, Emily found herself sitting through a formal conduct review. I had planted the seed. Now I let it grow. The next phase was more delicate. My old friend group. Those sycophants who had nodded along while I was humiliated. They lived for their social standing. So I set up a night out. Same bar, same crowd, a reunion of sorts. Only this time, I wasn't the broken man they remembered. I walked in calm, confident, the kind of composure that unsettles people who expect you to be broken. I nodded at a few of them, took my seat, and waited. Emily arrived soon after, draped on Greg's arm like some prize he'd won. She approached, clearly ready to gloat. That familiar smirk was on her lips when I beat her to it. "You should check your phone," I said, voice smooth as the whiskey I finally sipped. She blinked. Her phone buzzed. Then Greg's. Then Lisa's. One by one, their expressions twisted, from confusion to disbelief to something closer to horror. I had sent them everything. Every saved message, every flirty picture, every lie Emily had ever told me. And Greg, oh poor Greg. He had no idea Emily had been seeing someone else on the side. Not just me before him. Another man entirely. He turned to her, his voice dark, quiet. "You said I was the only one." Her face went pale. Greg, But he was already stepping away, phone still in hand. The bar fell into silence. I didn't smile. Didn't gloat. I didn't need to. Sometimes justice isn't loud. It's quiet, cold, and exact. And that night it was mine. Would you like me to continue the story from there? Greg turned on his heel and walked away without another word, his face a mask of quiet rage. "You're a joke," he muttered, more to himself than anyone, but loud enough for her to hear. The others, the friends who once chuckled at my expense, weren't laughing anymore. Their expressions had shifted. The smug amusement was gone, replaced by the tight-lipped judgment they used to reserve for me. For the first time they saw her clearly. Emily's eyes darted from face to face, her confident posture unraveling. She turned back to me, her voice sharp, almost a whisper laced with venom. "You planned this," she spat, her voice shaking, as if she couldn't decide whether to be furious or afraid. I met her gaze without flinching and gave her a small smile. "You always said I had no ambition. Thought I'd prove you wrong." For a moment, she just stared at me, that smirk gone, replaced by disbelief. Then she stormed out of the bar, her heels clicking angrily across the floor. Lisa followed her like a loyal shadow, but even she couldn't meet my eyes. She looked down as she passed me, as if the weight of her silence had finally caught up with her. The rest of them remained in stunned silence. No one dared to speak. Maybe they were too shocked. Or maybe they finally realized what they had done, how easily they had cast me aside, how quickly they had rallied around the wrong person. That night, they learned something I had come to understand the hard way. Loyalty isn't about who shines brightest in the room. It's about who stands beside you when everything falls apart. I won't pretend that night erased the pain. Betrayal doesn't just disappear because you get a little revenge. It lingers. It echoes in quiet moments and creeps up when you least expect it. But something fundamental shifted in me that night. I had always believed justice was about confrontation, about shouting louder, standing taller, forcing people to hear you. I was wrong. Real justice is patient. It waits. It watches. And when the time is right, it strikes in a way no one sees coming. A few months later, I landed a new job. A better one. One where I wasn't just going through the motions. I was focused, driven, everything Emily once accused me of not being. And Emily? The story got around, faster than I could have hoped. Her name, once polished and professional, now carried the weight of whispers and suspicion. Turns out that being untrustworthy in love makes people wonder if you're untrustworthy in business too. Last I heard, she was struggling, trying to rebuild the image she'd once so carefully curated, now cracked beyond repair. But that wasn't my concern anymore. Betrayal leaves a mark. But nothing leaves a scar quite like discovering the person you dismissed as weak was always 5 steps ahead. Quiet, patient, watching, and waiting.